In Dishonored 2, you've been framed for murder and treason. Your life has been turned upside down because of who you are and where you've come from. But many opportunities present themselves, offering you either redemption or revenge. Bringing closure to your plight may be crawling on their hands and knees in front of you, or casually strolling along down below. What happens next is entirely your call. The original Dishonored wedged open the door to these possibilities, whereas Dishonored 2 boots it off its hinges. Arcane Studios have thoroughly encouraged players to engage with the game in a way that's comfortable for them, whether they want to directly assassinate targets, sneak around, or find alternative ways to move the story forward. With multiple outcomes for every mission and several ways to reach your destination, in addition to 2 playable characters, Dishonored 2 certainly hasn't been designed for players to rush through once and be done with it. And this has been further emphasised by the New Game Plus update that is coming in December. Not to mention that both Corvo and Emily will interact with objects in different ways throughout the game, offering fresh perspectives. They'll have different conversations with NPCs, and even use different powers to change the way they play. Hell, you can even opt not to have any powers at all and play the game vanilla. But the thing that Dishonored 2 does most brilliantly of all is not have a clear developmental bias. Even in Dishonored 1, you felt like the game rewarded you for being a ghost more than a havoc-wreaking banshee. You always felt like it was giving you a sneaky thumbs up whenever you avoided dicing up every guard and hatter in sight. With Dishonored 2, the thing that Arcane Studios have got really right is a sense of satisfaction no matter how you choose to play the game. Just try deflecting blows in full-on sword fights, then unexpectedly stab your enemy in the leg so you can break through the defenses and decapitate them. It feels suitably badass and fills you with unexpected glee. But likewise, if you've managed to sneak around 5 high alert guards without raising an alarm or drawing their attention in any way, you'll find the smirk still sitting on your face 5 minutes later. Dishonored 2 has drawn on the very best games in the genre and blended their experiences together to craft something truly special. This feels more 98 Thief than the Squeenix reboot ever did, thanks to Arcane creating play spaces that require your constant attention, all while lathering on real tension during chase sequences no matter how powerful you've become. If you really wanted to, you could even throw out some slight Deus Ex comparisons when considering the powers of the outsider. And yet, Dishonored 2 feels fresh and organic. It might even become the standard bearer upon which all future titles of this ilk will be judged because it truly understands what it takes to be a great game. The narrative direction of Dishonored 2 also doesn't suffer from the disjointed nature of its predecessor. There is clear direction from the shock and usurpation scene that opens the game, to the targets you chase down through to the thrilling conclusion, plus all the lore and side quests in between. Everything feels purposeful and poignant, and it helps build a world that not only gives life to your targets, but also your allies, perfect strangers, and especially the central cast. Throughout much of Dishonored 1, Corvo was kind of a dull mute who went around stabbing some people, presumably because he hadn't eaten his Weetabix that morning. Now he's acting like a parental guide to Emily, training her, mentoring her, helping her cope with incredible responsibility that's on her shoulders. And because of that, you'll immediately feel that there's a reason Corvo is making certain choices in his quest. And it's no matter what they are, he is so much more expressive and engaging than last time around. I did, however, feel that Emily was the more natural character choice. Some conversations worked better with her and the story seemed to suit her arc a little better. Arcane haven't gone out of their way to make this obvious or show preferential treatment either way, and no matter who you choose, Dishonored 2 is easily one of the best stories in any game this year. The pacing never feels rushed. It's always clear what's going on, the events time and what's come before, and you may even find yourself empathizing with those you're targeting. And that goes hand in hand with some truly incredible level design. The Clockwork Mansion does need to be seen and experienced to be believed. The combination of enemy variety, placement, level control, secrets, multiple pathways, the story weaving all together, the difficulty curve. Forget current gen, this is one of the finest examples of level crafting and world building I have seen in years. The open world nature of the game also feels more expansive and inviting than before. I always felt like there were restrictions in the way during Dishonored 1, and it hampered my enjoyment just slightly. While it wasn't directly linear, you felt like you were being ushered along to your objective and could just do some slight cool stuff along the way, only slightly off the beaten path. Dishonored 2 encourages you to discover side quests. It practically begs you to try and find other solutions. There are even sequence events which you'll encounter that don't tie into the main plot at all, but are directly influenced by passing conversations you overhear. The other surprise is how different Dishonored 2 looks from its predecessor. Dunwall is a dreary, dark, damp and dismal place where life is constantly being sucked out of you. While it certainly has a reputation for being a drain on the Empire of the Isles, Dishonored 2 is much more up-tempo and virtuous than it's mostly set in Karnaca. My immediate thought when I first first pulled up to the docks of Karnaca was recognition. I felt like I'd actually travelled to Venice, or I'd been here before, leaving the fantasy realm of Dishonored behind me. And this isn't a coincidence, as the game's city was influenced by the culture of various European countries, inspired by its paintings and its sculptures, yet Arcane have done so in a way that the environment maintains its own identity and effortlessly fits inside an established universe. With Karnaca, Arcane have majestically captured true beauty, so much so that when Corvo grumbles about travelling there, he has his reasons, you may find yourself wanting to slap him. How could he hate a place like this? But that also works into the mystique of the area, encouraging you to unravel its finer delicacies and darker secrets. Naturally, a new location means new sound, both in terms of music and effects, further separating itself from its predecessor. While obviously the voice acting changes the complexion of the game, the music really captures a whole other layer of this dark magical world. The soft symphonies are twisted with a quirkiness that feels both familiar and different, and that really helps set a scene as you clamber along rooftops or stay cloaked in shadow. Sound remains as crucially important as ever. If you're smashing glass willy-nilly or you're knocking items off tables, guards are going to hear and they're going to come and investigate. More than ever, you'll need to plan your movements around the environment very carefully, because the AI in Dishonored 2 is just so much more sensitive, aware, and logical. If you run free will, your footsteps are going to echo. If you stay in view for too long, they'll know something is up. The AI is just so much more alive in Dishonored 2. They'll band up together to bring you down on force, they'll deviate from their patterns to throw you off your game plan, and are also harder to shake when they do discover you. Even in combat, they prove to be worthy adversaries that will put up an admirable fight. Dishonored 2 has admittedly experienced some issues on PC, with frame rate stuttering, control glitches, and random bugs. Having played the game prior to this patch, I can attest to and acknowledge many of the difficulties early adopters face. But having applied the new 1.2 beta upgrade, which you're actually seeing on the screen right now, I can also confirm that the game now floats like a dream. I'm running everything on ultra settings and just gasping and grinning at the fast-paced nature and fluidity of the action. It is genuinely superb. I've sat on this review for a few hours, been racking my brains trying to decide if I've forgotten anything or if I'm getting swept up in my own enjoyment, and in settling on a final score, I separated myself from the experience as much as possible to look at it critically and impartially, desperately trying to see what truly makes Dishonored 2 tick. And ultimately, I've reached the same conclusion. Based on patch 1.2, Dishonored 2 deserves a perfect score. This is the finest version of an absolutely fantastic game. It's filled with some amazing content, and there are plenty more exciting things already announced for its future. Dishonored 2 does exactly what any sequel should do: improve and expand on the original mechanics, refine and polish them to make them serve an even greater purpose, all while giving us something very compelling and memorable. It's an absolute travesty that Dishonored 2 has suffered sales-wise compared to its predecessor. Not only is it leaps and bounds a better game, I've rarely felt compelled to immediately jump back in and do it all again. Simply put, this is hands down the most fun and enjoyment I've had all year. And if you plan on grabbing anything on Black Friday or at any point in the near future, make it Dishonored 2. There's no better modern experience on the market right now. Bethesda's phenomenal year has ended with the biggest bang of the bunch. The first ever perfect scoring game on Expansive. So just to summarize the pros, because there's not many cons: so much replayability with all the variation on offer, location, story and characters enlivened by wonderful vox visuals and expert narrative direction. Every mistake made in Dishonored 1 has been learned from and improved upon. And seriously, the only con is nobody's buying it and we need more content and sequels. Really, that's it. If you completely disagree with that, by all means feel free to drop me in the comment section below and let me know your thoughts. Thank you very much for watching. Don't forget to like, comment and subscribe. See you next time.